Alright, so let's talk about Reva the Inquisitor from the new Obi Wan Kenobi series. Now, there is all kinds of conversations and debates I have found myself in online about this character, and whether it's on Facebook or Instagram or some message board or on YouTube or whatever it is, there seems to be so many opinions flying back and forth that have just kind of settled into two camps. You either love her or you hate her. I feel she's a one-dimensional character, and that's okay. It's obviously what the story called for. There are many one-dimensional characters in cinema and TV and fiction of all kinds. Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, even Darth Vader, for almost the entire first two movies, was a one-dimensional character up until he told Luke Skywalker he was his father. One of the greatest movie villains of all time is a shark. Talk about one-dimensionality there. There's nothing wrong with being a one-dimensional character. I actually really like the Obi-Wan series, and a lot of people would disagree with me, and that is a topic for another day, but I'm enjoying seeing Ewan McGregor back as Obi-Wan. I'm enjoying seeing Darth Vader again. And this show is called Obi Wan Kenobi, not Reva the Inquisitor, so I don't really expect a lot about her character or a lot out of her character. She is doing what she's doing and was written the way she was written to best, at least in the minds of the writers, serve the story of Obi-Wan. Now sure, I can sit here and say, after being a fan of Star Wars Clone Wars and Star Wars Rebels, that it would have been nice to have a multi-dimensional Inquisitor being the main focus of this group of Inquisitors that we're seeing, because that's certainly more or less what we got in those two animated series. And it would have been nice to see her fleshed out a little bit more from the beginning. Now, my personal opinion is that by the end of this series, we'll get some reveal about her. My guess is that it'll be revealed that she was one of the Jedi Padawan that escaped the Jedi Temple from Order 66 in the very first episode, where we got that little bit of a flashback. That's just my guess. I don't know. We'll see, and if it's pulled off successfully, we'll get a little more depth to her character, and I'm fine with that. And I'm fine if we don't get any depth to her character at all, but it is a fact. She is a one-dimensional villain serving the role, as of the first 4 episodes, of being a one-dimensional villain, and there's no getting around that from a storytelling standpoint, from a cinematic standpoint. And the people that seem to be so offended by just stating the clear and obvious intentions of the writers with her characters, I don't understand why you're so upset. I also don't understand why people are just hating on her so much for being one-dimensional. Again, so many classic villains in cinema are one-dimensional characters. Again, I find myself in the middle just enjoying an Obi-Wan show with Obi-Wan and Vader and having this antagonist, this villain who is, like many other villains, just kind of there to progress the story in one particular way, a la one-dimensional. One of the big problems I see, of course, coming from the people who just can't seem to wrap their heads around the fact that she is in fact a one-dimensional character. And I don't want to make this political, but it's this push to say that anybody who says anything in any way that could be construed as negative about this character must be a racist or a sexist. And that's just not true. It's just people calling out that, yeah, she's okay and she's helping push the story forward, but there's no real depth to her character. And as far as I'm concerned, again, that's okay. That's her role in the story. Why do people seem to be so offended by people who actually call out the truth about her character? I don't understand myself. It doesn't make any sense. I hop on a Facebook post or a message board or say something on YouTube and I get called a racist and a sexist and all these other things because I don't appreciate how good she's portraying this role. Well, honestly, I don't even know who this woman is, Moses something. Of my knowledge, never seen her in anything, and I'm not commenting on her acting ability by calling out the character as being of little depth and one-dimensional. I'm just saying she has little depth and is one-dimensional. And that should be okay to talk about in geek culture. Why do we feel this need to involve politics and use terms like toxic fandom, which is one of the most overused terms in geek culture ever in my lifetime, period? It's just a stupid term. Yeah, are there fans that are assholes? Sure. Are they the majority? Hell no. Are they even the majority of people who criticize things that they dislike? No, they're not. It's a handful of people who are just assholes on the internet. Let them be assholes on the internet and ignore them by giving them all this attention, by calling out all this racism and sexism and all this other stuff on behalf of 13 dudes who got together on some 4chan post and decided to go spam some Twitter accounts. You're just giving them what they want. You're giving them the attention that they want and then creating this toxic fandom in the air and in your mind when honestly it doesn't really exist to any real measurable level. The fact is, we should as geeks be able to criticize, or at the very least just honestly judge a character that has nothing to do with the actor or actress portraying the character, that has nothing to do with their skin color. It just has to do with how the character is written, and that should be okay without being called a racist or a sexist. There's just no reason for that, especially given all the evidence out there that it's not the way it is. Again, the show is called Obi Wan, not Reva. It's okay for her to be a one-dimensional character of very little depth, because that's exactly what she is, at least at this point. A one-dimensional character with very little depth.